Welcome again to my channel. On today's video, I want to share with you which of the provinces in Canada pays more tax than the other. Amongst all the provinces, you know that we are being charged federal and provincial taxes. And from 100,000 paycheck, which will be my benchmark for reviewing all these taxes, both provincial and federal taxes, I want to show you what your take home will look like after the provincial taxes and federal taxes are taken off your paycheck, so you can determine which province to move to so that you get less tax. Keep watching, guys. Just recently, before the tax season commenced, tax brackets were moved slightly forward with a few hundreds of dollars, even though the percentages remained the same. So in the previous tax year, if you were in between a particular band, your tax percentage for the provincial would have moved slightly forward if you were, at the edge of the bank for the new tax year. I'm going to be sharing this. For the sake of this video, we are going to be diving into my computer screen so that we'll better understand what I'm trying to explain. So we're going to be using 100,000 as a benchmark if that's your gross that you're being paid from your income, and we'll be determining what your net income would look like. If you recall from one of the videos that I vlogged with Chrissy Spores, and we're talking about why immigrants are leaving Canada, we talked about the taxes that are high here in Canada. And because we pay federal and provincial taxes amongst other taxes, because if you work in an organization, there are other taxes that will be deducted from your pay. You have your employment insurance, you have your Canada pension plan that will be deducted. You can also have deductions such as your AD&D, that's the accident, death and dismemberment. You could also have life insurance deductible. If you have any RRSP, that your organization also deducts from your pay and matches it up, those are also deductible. If you have social clubs, those are deductible. So you can imagine all these deductibles from $100,000 in an annual income, and you're left with what particular take-home pay. Averagely, we've talked about the percentage being around a 30 to 35% deduction across the board, but we're going to be reviewing this based on a few provinces, and I'm going to be looking at Saskatchewan, where I currently locate. I will be looking at Quebec, that people actually have the notion that they have the high tax rates. I'm going to be looking at Alberta, Ontario, and British Columbia. Maybe we can also review more provinces, but let's dive into it. I'm in the Government of Canada website currently, and we'll be reviewing the Canadian income tax for individuals, and here we can see the federal tax rates, which is the new 2023 tax rates, and the provincial and territorial tax rates for 2023. We can see that the federal taxes are between 15% and 33%, depends on your income bracket. Like I mentioned, if you were earning less than $53,359, you'll be paying 15% of federal taxes. I must say here that federal taxes are charged across the provinces, and these are the same irrespective of whichever province that you reside. And the taxes, of course, depend on the band that you fall into. This percentage cuts across all provinces. Now let's go into the provincial tax. For the provincial and the territorial taxes, it depends on your province. I've mentioned that we're going to be looking at Saskatchewan, so let's jump right quickly to where Saskatchewan is. Right now, let's jump to Saskatchewan. And for the bracket that we're looking at 100,000 income. That's the gross income that you'll be earning. You'll be paying 12.5% on the portion of your taxable income. So if you're earning 100,000 in between this range, you'll be paying 12.5% of provincial taxes. In Alberta, for the same 100,000, you'll be in this bracket. And while Saskatchewan will be charging you 12.5%, you'll be paying 10% of taxable income on anything less than 142,000. And don't forget, we are considering 100,000 income gross. This means as a resident of Alberta, your income tax portion will be 10% of 100,000 if you are within this band. Let's also consider Manitoba. We talked about Manitoba, and Manitoba will be charging this. So you are earning over 100,000, and this is anything above 79,625 for Manitoba will be 17.4% taxable income, which is higher than Saskatchewan. Manitoba's provincial taxes is higher than Saskatchewan. Let's go to Ontario. For Ontario, you'll be paying 11.16% on your portion of your taxable income that is in between this band. And of course, we are considering 100,000 band. Whatever you earn in between this band, of 100,000, you'll be paying a portion of 11.16% on your taxable income. That's for Ontario. I think we should look at more provinces. Nova Scotia would, for 100,000, this is where you will be falling in, and that's 17.5%. So let's look at Quebec. For Quebec, for your income tax will be, this is 2023, on 100,000, you will be on this band, and that is 24%. You'll be paying 24% of provincial taxes. So for now, provincial tax for Quebec is on the high side. Other provinces have somewhat lower percentages, but let's key in these numbers. I usually use this income tax calculator to determine what your net will be from your gross when you're being paid a particular amount. So we're considering 100,000 gross, and we're starting with Quebec. So with Quebec, with the calculator, it means all things deductible, the federal taxes, the provincial taxes, your employment insurance. Quebec also charges the QPP, there's the QPIP, there's an insurance plan. All those are deducted, and you have a total deductible of 34% for your total taxes. This deduction, this 34.2, is also not exhaustive, because your company also deducts other things, like if you have social clubs, if you have accident, death and dismemberment, AD&D, if you have RRSP, for instance, and other deductibles. These percentages will go up, and then your net will reduce. So let's look at what this is without other deductibles. So we want to assume those other deductibles are not included in this. On 100,000, your net pay will be 65,000. Your net pay will be 65,000 for Quebec. Now let's look at Saskatchewan. For Saskatchewan, your net pay will be 67,000 on 100,000, and then your total tax, and this total tax includes your provincial and your federal taxes put together. They vary slightly, depends on your deductibles, like I mentioned, but this is just to give you an idea of what your net income will be like if you were working out of these provinces. And if you have other deductibles, this amount obviously will reduce, because they will be taking that percentage of this amount. So I mentioned your RRSP, I mentioned if you have other insurances, like in Saskatchewan we don't have the QPP, but we have the CPP, which is also here. We have the EI, the employment insurance, and then other deductibles like the RRSP if you have a group insurance from your company. Those are deductibles that will also hit your paycheck, and other things really. So bear in mind that this is not the final, but this is just an idea for you to know that what you will be able to take home after the taxes. For Alberta, you will have 30% of taxes deductible, and you'll be taking home $69,000. That will be your net from 100,000. When we say taxes are high in Canada, this is an example of what we're talking about, and this is not exhaustive. I hit this again and again. This is Alberta, and total taxes is 31%. So if you're being charged 31%, or you are deducted 31% from your paycheck from 100,000, you're like, woohoo, I'm earning 100,000, and then your pay or your take home goes to 69,000. and it's going to drop. Depends on other deductibles that hit your paycheck. Then who are we working for? I said we're also going to look at Manitoba, that had a slightly high provincial tax, and with Manitoba you're taking home 65,000 with a 34% margin of deductible. That's federal and provincial tax. This is crazy, guys. This is crazy, guys. So I'm cutting across all these provinces with the same gross of 100,000 take-home pay. Take-home will now be less of 34% if it's Manitoba right now, because we're looking at Manitoba, and you have a 34% tax deductible. Please, who are we working for here in Canada? All our efforts to get up in the morning and go to work, and we are paying all of this, and these are still not all the taxes. If you own homes, you are paying generally federal taxes. Federal taxes are in between 15% to 33%. I initially showed you this chart. So the federal taxes, this is it, 15% to 33%. And if you are in the band of 100,000, you should be paying somewhere around 20.5%. And then going to the provincial tax rates, it depends on your province. I'm going to go through this chart so you can view it. I will also drop the link in the description box, so you can also click it and review yourself. But this is from the CRA website, so you can always Google it and find it there. It's easy to find. So you know when you are negotiating your next paycheck, you know exactly how much comes back to you, because sometimes you get this paycheck, and if you can go further. Let me take you back to the calculator. You can go further to determine what your bi-weekly is for now. So let's come home to Saskatchewan where we are. If you are going to be paid bi-weekly on 100,000 paycheck, it will be, your gross will be 3,846 and your net will be 2,599. This is $1,300 deducted, and it can be more. Depends on your company and depends on more deductibles that exist there. So the percentage still remains the same, but I'm just breaking it down for you to understand. And of course, this is the multiplier of a month of 8,000, and then your net will be 5,600. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And if per hour, that's $51 per hour that you're earning on $100,000, and you're earning $51 per hour, but you're actually earning $34 or $35 per hour. This is Saskatchewan. This is Saskatchewan. So we can do that for other provinces and determine which province actually deducts more taxes and what your eventual take home will look like. So we can go on and on, but I will encourage you to do this yourself. But the bottom line for me here is to show you that the taxes are high here in Canada. Depending on what you earn, you are paying an average of minimum of about 30% on taxes, almost across all provinces except British Columbia, that the taxes averages about 28% of both federal and provincial taxes. Every other province, most of these provinces that I'm highlighting here today, you'll be paying about 33% and more on taxes. And that's the minimum. That's the minimum. So who are we working for? Canada tax rates are high, and this goes to show that it is high, but you can determine where to move to. You can decide to move to a province where the taxes are lower, but it can still change. You don't know. But just be rest assured, this is just to highlight the taxes that we pay here in Canada and how much our take home is on 100,000. You can do the maths across the gross pay. Depends on whatever value you earn, and this would make you understand that taxes are high in Canada and eventually determine what we go home with. And as much as you even try to increase your income and you say, Oh, they're taking about 33% from my income. Let me just try and find better jobs and increase my income. Let me shock you with another income of, let's just say you're going to be earning about 125. Let's go to 125,000 here in Saskatchewan. Let's do the maths together. Your income tax has increased because obviously you have moved to another band, and the band that you moved to, let's go check, from your federal taxes from 100,000, which keeps you on this band of 20.5%, you have moved to 125,000 income, and then you are being charged 26%. So that's going to be an extra percentage on the overage of the band that you fall out of. So from 106 to this 165, your tax, the tax portion will increase by this amount. But your provincial tax still remains the same. From Saskatchewan, you are still in the 12.5% under the band until you hit over 142,000 in income. And that's why, let's go back to our calculator, you are paying more in taxes, and then your net income on 125,000 is 82,000. Calculate the difference. 42,000 have gone into taxes. 42,000 has gone into taxes. That's a third of your income. Okay, I'm not here to scare you. For those that are outside Canada, I'm not here to scare you from coming here. But these are some of the complaints that we have here, and people just wonder, why would I be paying a third of my income in taxes, and yet we kind of not have a life here in Canada because it's just about work, and then all of this gets deducted in federal and provincial taxes plus other taxes. Obviously, we can see that the fraction of the taxes that are deducted from other provinces are so minute. So whatever province that you find yourself, you are still paying high taxes. So you can't run away from one province to the other and feel that you'll be paying less tax. But we have been able to determine what take home actually goes home with us from $100,000. And guys, it is not really worth it. Thank you for watching, and do continue to follow this channel, share, like, and subscribe. I will see you again in my next vlog. Bye guys.